Hello and welcome back to Cooking for Two 101. Today we're making broccoli cheddar soup in the Instant Pot. So yeah, it's kind of hot outside, but I have heard my whole life that if you have something warm on a warm day, it actually cools you down. So we're hoping that's true. We're going to start off saute on high. I have a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter sizzling it away in there. And I'm going to add half of a diced red onion. You can use white onion, you could use sweet onion, just whatever onion you happen to have will be just fine. We're going to let this saute for a little bit. We're also going to add in a clove and a half of garlic. You can mince it yourself or you can use those pre-minced ones. That's also fine. If you do that, it's pretty quick. There we go. I don't want that in there. I do want all this yumminess in there. Yeah. Yum, yum. Okay. As soon as you start to smell this garlic, we are going to add the other components of the soup base, which is 1 stalk of celery that I've chopped up and 1 pretty big carrot that I've grated. And I like the different textures because it gives the soup a little bit more body when it has other little things to chew on in it. So here we go. 1 celery. That smells so good. And 1 diced carrot. Or, sorry, grated carrot. Also, what we want to add, I mean, it is broccoli soup after all, is broccoli. So I had here a pretty big crown of broccoli, but I just want to show you how to cut it. You don't necessarily want all of this part in your soup. You want to sort of trim that away. You could put this in a stock, a vegetable stock, or in a stir fry or whatever, but it gets a little, I don't know, you don't want it in your soup because it's hard to boat motor out and it's kind of stringy and no bueno. So you just want to cut these little pieces up without too much of this base on. Oh, that was kind of big. All right, there we go. Before we add this though, oh, that smells amazing. Give it a stir. And now we'll put it in, and then we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And by a little bit of salt and pepper, I mean a little bit of salt, but kind of a lot of pepper. There's a lot of things going in here that don't have a lot of flavor, like milk and broccoli. So the more pepper you add, the better, in my opinion. If you're not a fan of pepper, just be careful. But once you make this 1 or 2 times, you'll see what I mean about the pepper. Okay, we're going to let this saute for another 3-4 minutes. And once the vegetables start to soften and the onions are translucent, we'll be ready to move on. Okay, soup's almost on. I'm not joking. This goes so fast. So the onions are softened. The broccoli is bright green, which is exactly how we want it to be. I'm going to turn off saute by hitting cancel. And then I'm going to put on a pressure cook on high, and we're going to do it for 5 minutes. While that's changing modes, I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken broth. And this is actually better than bouillon with warm water in it because it's delicious. But you can use chicken broth, you could use vegetable broth. If you're a vegetarian, you don't want to add any meat. It's also ridiculously delicious. I'm going to put that in there. I'm also going to add, because I like things a little tiny bit spicy, about 6 or 7 dashes of Tabasco. You could put it in a jalapeno if you want, a fresh one all diced up. That would be delicious. Later, we're going to put in a sweet red pepper for color, but I don't want to necessarily pressure cook that because then it takes over the soup, and I don't necessarily like that very much. All right, voila. The lid is on. We're going to pressure cook on high for 5 minutes. Then we're going to do a quick release. We'll be back. Okay, so it cooked for 5 minutes on pressure cook high, and then I did a 5-minute natural release and then a quick release. And I messed that up at the last cut, but you do want to give it at least 10 minutes in there. 5 minutes on pressure cook, 5 minutes on natural release, because we want all that broccoli to cook really well. Otherwise, it won't blend up later when we do that part. Okay, next what I'm going to do is add, well, actually what I'm going to do is turn off the pressure cooker part, and I put on saute, and I'm going to put it on low and press start. And what I'm going to do is cook my red peppers, and these are just the mini red peppers. They're not spicy, they're just flavorful. I like the small ones because they're not as, the flavor isn't as crazy as like one of those big green peppers, for example. And I'm putting them in at the end because if you do it if you put them in while you're pressure cooking, then the whole thing tastes like that. And that's not what I want. The other thing you can do is put in a jalapeno. If you like a spicy soup, put in a jalapeno right now. And we've done that. It's delicious. Trust me. So this is going to cook for about 3 minutes. We just want it to get up to a bit of a bubble and soften up those red peppers. I have grated up about a cup with a little extra for garnish of my favorite cheddar cheese, Tillamook cheddar cheese, and about a half a cup of extra sharp white cheddar cheese, also from Tillamook, because it's delicious. We're going to add that afterwards, and then the other thing we're going to add is a cup of half and half. You can use whipping cream. You could use whole milk. It won't be as thick, but you could also use that. So this is going to take a couple seconds. We'll be right back. Okay, so the peppers are getting soft. I can smell them, which is a good thing. It's got a pretty good simmer going on in there. So now I'm going to turn off the saute button, and I'm going to add in 1 cup, like I said, of heavy cream or whipping cream or milk or whatever you happen to have on hand. And I'm going to stir it in, and it cools it down instantly, which is a good thing. We don't want this milk to burn or to curdle or anything like that. Next, what we're going to do is take out our handy dandy boat motor. What is this? Immersion blender. I like to call it a boat motor because it's fun to say that. If you don't have one of these, you could blend it up in your blender. Just be careful. Do it in batches. Don't overfill it, because if it spills out, it'll burn you. Or you could just have it chunky like this, which is also quite delicious. Okay, but first of all, here we go. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to beat this up a little bit. And my thing is off. You don't want to do this with it on. Just going to keep going around. It's probably going to take 4 or 5 minutes, so you don't need to watch all of it. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're done blending. If you like it chunky, let it be chunky. If you like it thin, let it, go to town. Just when you're done and you like the consistency, oh, I'm going to taste it for salt. Oh, it's perfect. I don't need to do anything. Okay, now we're going to put it back on saute low, and we're going to start adding the cheese in handfuls. And it's already pretty warm, so you don't need to wait. So I'm just going to sprinkle it in and stir it around. And it melts practically instantly, which is a good thing, because you don't want this cheese to get super hot. It'll break the soup, and, well, we all know that's no bueno. I'm going to keep doing this and clean up a little bit. Oh, by the way, I did make some crusty bread. It's just bread with butter and a little bit of your favorite seasoning salt. I put it in the oven because serving crunchy bread with soup is such a good idea. So that's what we're going to have as a side dish. And dipping it is amazing. And I've also prepped all of the garnish. I did do some chopped up scallions and some crispy bacon, and we're going to put a little bit of this extra cheese on top because it's so pretty. All right, this is just take a couple seconds. We're going to let it cool down a little bit and plate up. We'll be right back. Okay, she's ready. I'm so excited. So I scooped some out into a bowl. I mean, I guess you could just suck it through a straw, but it's going to burn your mouth. Let it cool down a little bit, and I'm going to taste it for seasoning. I'm going to add a little pepper. I don't think it needs any more salt. There's a lot of salt in cheese. I'm going to garnish with a little bit of shredded cheddar. I'm going to also put on some green scallions that I diced up. You can skip that part if you want to, but I like that crunchy, fresh bite. And then these are just little bacon lardons. I like a little bacon in there. You don't have to put bacon on, but it's really good. Okay, here she is. I'm going to give her a try. Oh, it's so pretty. It smells amazing. Yay for soup. Soup is delicious. It's hearty. It's yummy. It fills you up quickly. It's inexpensive. That probably cost me $4 to make all of that soup. Yay, team. Okay, thanks for watching Cooking for Two 101. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and stay tuned for our next video, which is our 1-year anniversary. We're going to do something cool. All right, we'll see you then.